Hello, everyone. Uh, okay, so we're starting off with a new lesson. Okay, nung first half ng semester, okay, we were studying electricity. Okay, and ngayon, ang titignan natin ay yung concept ng magnetism. So, yung idea ng magnetism, I'm sure very familiar kayo doon. Okay, and I don't know, hindi ko alam kung ano yung extent ng familiarity ninyo, pero of course, we know na maraming mga bagay okay, na pwede natin paggamitan ng magnet, like yung ref magnet, okay, and as a toy siguro, nung bata kayo, pag naglalaro kayo ng mga magnets, okay, nag-try kayo na mag-attract ng mga tawag dito, mga metallic na objects. Okay, and even then, okay, when you use yung magnets na yun, I'm sure na mayroon kayong mga na-observe na mga behavior. Okay, nung mga magnets na yan. Okay, and yun yung mga explore natin. Ano yung behaviors nung magnets at kung paano natin i-exploit itong magnetic properties, okay, to be able to apply them to yung other devices okay, na commonly actually na ginagamit natin. Okay, so yung concept ng yung magnetic phenomena ay matagal na actually na na-discover, okay, na-discover to noon sa Turkey, sa isang ancient city na ang tawag ay Magnesia. Okay, at ngayon ay Manisa na yung tawag. Pero ganun na siya katagal. Okay, so we know that there are permanent magnets. Okay, and meaning mga naturally occurring na magnets na pag kinuha mo from the ground, automatic na nagmamagnetize na siya okay, ng mga objects. And there are objects that can be magnetized, or you can magnetize objects or uh, force objects to become magnetic. Okay, may difference yung dalawa na yan kasi yung if you magnetize objects, then it's a temporary magnetization. But you can also force objects to become magnetic for a very, very long, for a very, very long time. Okay, and interestingly enough, related yung behavior ng magnet sa electricity. Okay, and makikita natin kung ano yung source ng magnetism, okay, kung bakit merong magnetic fields, and makikita natin kung how interrelated magnetism is with electricity. And towards the end of this course, yung talagang madidiscover natin is that yung interrelationship or yung direct relationship ng magnetism with electricity actually leads to the concept of light. A light is an electromagnetic phenomenon. At yun yung magiging culmination ng ating Physics 102 na course. Okay? Sorry. Okay, so let's start with yung simple behaviors ng magnet. So we're doing magnetism. Okay, so topic natin ay magnetism. Okay, so alam natin na if we have two permanent magnets, itong mga magnets ito ay merong north at saka south pole. Okay, and we know that yung opposite poles ay nag-attract north and south or south and north. Okay, they attract and pag pinagtapat nyo naman yung like poles, magre-repel sila. Okay, tulad ng nakikita natin dito sa figure na ito. Now, we can magnetize objects temporarily okay, by tawag dito, placing a magnet near an iron such as a nail. Okay, and then this iron actually becomes magnetized regardless kung ano yung pole okay, na kung saan mo siya ilalapit. Okay. How do we know that becomes magnetized? Kasi makikita nyo dito na ito yung isang nail, but then yung nail na yan actually attracts yung other nails, okay, na nandito. And that's how we know na ito na magnetize and that's why it attracts this one at na-magnetize niya rin yan. Ito na magnetize din and so on and so forth. So you can magnetize objects, metallic objects, okay, and have them behave like a magnet kahit na temporary lang. Ang isang tawag dito, malaking magnet, okay, actually exists dito sa Earth. Yung Earth actually has its own magnetic field. And that's because of the currents dun sa core nung na gumagalaw sa gitna ng Earth. Okay? Um, Interestingly enough, sinasabi natin na yung North Pole nasa taas, okay, actually is the magnetic south, and yung South Pole na nasa baba, okay, is actually the magnetic north. And we know this kasi if we have a compass, okay, and if yung compass na yan, magpo-point yan dun sa, yung red na to is yung north, and then yung white na yan is yung south. And then yung compass na yan mag-orient dun sa magnetic field. And it orients in such a way na yung north ay nakaturo sa taas, yung north arrow ng compass ay nakaturo sa taas at yung south arrow ng compass ay nakaturo sa baba. And we know na opposites attract, di ba? So yung north tawag dito, compass, north direction ng compass points to the south, to the magnetic south. And yung south na direction ng compass points to the magnetic north ng Earth. Okay? And if we try to break a magnet, okay, makikita natin na uh, yung poles ay mag-exist pa rin. So if we break this into two, magkakaroon ka ngayon ng bagong South Pole at saka bagong North Pole. Okay, and what this actually tells us is that um, yung magnets, okay, always comes in two poles. So bipolar sila. Okay, so parating meron North at saka South Pole. So, pwede nating sabihin na magnetic monopoles, okay, do not exist. Okay, magnetic monopole meaning north lang na magnet na may north pole lang, or magnet na may south pole lang. If you have a permanent magnet, it will always have a north and a south pole. Okay, it always has two poles or bipolar. Okay, and this is the difference between magnetism and electricity. Okay, nakita natin na itong behavior na to where opposites attract and likes repel, okay, is a behavior of electricity. Nakita rin natin na pwede ka mag-induce ng electric field, ng electricity sa ibang objects, okay, tulad ng behavior dito sa magnetism. Pero if you break apart the magnet, it produces a new north and south poles, okay, contrary to yung behavior ng electricity. Okay, so if you break a wire, if you cut a wire, you know that that wire will always have negative charges. So it doesn't produce positive charges as a result of breaking the wire. Okay, now there's magnetism is one of the first few things na pinag-experimentohan ng mga scientists nung panahon na yun, nung early years, okay? Si Hans Christian Ørsted, okay, actually was one of the persons who experimented with the magnet. At ang naging experiment niya is that if you place a compass, okay, on a wire, okay, of course, if there's no current through the wire, then walang mangyayari dun sa compass. Okay, the compass needle will point north. Okay? Sorry, yung compass needle pala magpo-point north. Okay, then if you apply current, okay, through a wire, okay, magagalaw ngayon yung um tawag dito, yung electricity, okay, or yung compass needle in such a way, okay, na yung direction ay yung direction ng deflection ay magdedepend sa current ng wire. So for example, if you have a current that goes in this direction, yung deflection is in this direction. And if yung current is in this in direction, yung deflection is in the opposite direction. Okay, but ultimately it will end up in this orientation, and you will learn later kung bakit ganun yung magiging orientation niya. Okay, and maintindihan niyo rin kung bakit later on kung bakit nade-deflect siya in that direction pag pinapalitan niyo yung current direction. Dito makikita nyo na interrelated na kaagad yung electricity at saka yung magnetism. Kasi if you apply current, then something happens, okay, something happens in such a way that you affect yung magnetic field surrounding the wire. Okay, remember that a compass will follow the magnetic field that is surrounding that is it's in environment ba. So kung may compass ka at hawak mo lang siya, it will follow the magnetic field of the earth. Pero kung ilapit mo siya sa isang current carrying wire, at mag-apply ka ng current dun sa wire na yun, made-deflect yung yung direction, yung needle ng compass, which indicates na merong magnetic field na pinoproduce yung wire, okay, which is stronger than the Earth's magnetic field, right? Okay. Okay, so ano ngayon ang masasabi natin about all of these things? Okay, so sa electricity, alam natin na pag may distribution tayo ng electric charge, okay, it creates an electric field, okay, in the surrounding space, okay? And the electric field exerts a force which is equal to F equals Q, yung charge, okay, na present times the electric field. Okay, on any charge Q, okay. In a magnetic field, we can describe the interactions in a similar way. So, dito, pag meron kang moving charge or current, it creates a magnetic field, okay, in the surrounding field, okay, surrounding area. So, if you have a moving charge or a current, okay, it creates a magnetic field in the surrounding space. Okay, secondly, okay, because nade-deflect niya yung needle, then yung needle na yun experiences a force due to that magnetic field. So we call that a magnetic force. Okay, the magnetic field exerts a force F on any other moving charge or current that is present in the field. So a magnetic field, okay, exerts a force F on any other moving charge or current. Excuse me. That is present in the field. So yung number 2 na to actually is the inverse of number 1 in such a way na pag meron kang magnetic field and nagkataon na meron kang charge or wire, okay, in the region dun sa magnetic field na yon, yung charge na yon or yung wire na yon ay mararamdaman yung magnetic field na yon in terms of the magnetic force. Okay? So, yun nga, dito as early as now, makikita natin na mayroong relationship between electricity and magnetism. Okay? Kasi yung electricity or yung magnetism can affect yung movement ng mga charges. Okay, so let's take a look at how that happens. So in this figure, we have a charge moving parallel to a magnetic field. Okay, so yung magnetic field dito is indicated by the blue lines. Okay, yung charge ay yung mga spheres na yan na positive at positive sila. And yung direction, okay, nung mga charges na ito, okay, ay indicated by the green arrows, okay, with at yung speed kung saan o yung velocities kung saan nagmo-move yung mga charges na yun is indicated by yung vector na v. Dito, nakikita natin na if a charge is moving parallel to a magnetic field or anti-parallel in this case, di ba? Sa case na to, anti-parallel siya. Okay? If they're moving parallel or anti-parallel to a magnetic field, it experiences zero magnetic force. And that's what happens in an experiment. Okay, in the experiments that they did early on. Okay, on the other hand, pag yung charge mo has a certain angle with respect, is moving okay, at a certain angle with respect to the magnetic field, then it experiences a magnetic force. Yung magnitude ng magnetic force na yan, okay, is given by, okay, magnitude lang muna pinag-usapan natin, the charge Q, okay, ignoring the sign, the charge, and then the velocity, okay, of the, tawag dito, of the charge, multiplied by the magnetic field that is present times the sine of the angle between the velocity and the magnetic field. So your angle na phi is indicated here in the figure as the angle between the magnetic field and the velocity of the charge. Okay, so yan yung magnitude. Now, yung direction, okay, is actually perpendicular, okay, to the plane kung saan yung V at saka yung B, okay, ay present. Okay? So it's perpendicular to both V and B. Okay? Now, of course, in vector notation, that's easy enough to determine, di ba? Kasi sa Cartesian coordinate system, we have I hat, j hat, and k hat. And we know from vector notation, okay, kung paano nagbe-behave yung I hat, j hat, at saka k hat sa isa't isa. Okay, and in terms of dot products and cross products. Okay, and pero if there's also another way to determine yung direction, and that's by using yung right hand. Okay, so yung right hand rule na tinatawag. Okay, so if we want to write this, okay, so now tapusin ko lang itong pag-describe ng image. So a charge moving perpendicular to a magnetic field experiences a maximum magnetic force with magnitude Q V cross B. So kung perpendicular yung V and B sa isa't isa, okay, maximum yung magnitude ng force and yung direction ng force na yon is also perpendicular to both V and B. Now, we can write this magnetic force in terms in vector notation as Q equal to V cross B. So if you recall, this is called a cross product. Okay, and the way to determine yung magnitude is through this equation, and yung direction naman is by following yung tawag dito, rules regarding cross product sa Cartesian coordinate system ng unit vectors. Okay, and if you recall, if ang unit vectors ay I hat, j hat, k hat, then we have this sort of arrow. So if we have I hat cross j hat, okay, so if we have I hat cross j hat, then it's k hat. If we have j hat cross k hat, then it's I hat. And if we have k hat cross I hat, then it's j hat. Okay, and of course the reverse tawag dito follows. I hat cross k hat is negative j hat. Okay, k hat cross j hat is negative I hat, and j hat cross I hat is negative k hat. Okay? So yan yung pagdating sa unit vectors na sinusunod natin na convention. There's another way to determine yung direction is and it's by using the right hand rule. Okay, so by using right hand. Okay, so ang gagawin niyo is lalagay niyo yung V, lalagay niyo muna yung kamay niyo sa V direction and then i-move niyo towards that B direction, the direction ng magnetic field. At kung saan nakaturo yung thumb, doon nakaturo yung magnetic force. Okay, as indicated in this figure. So dito nyo muna lalagay yung kamay ninyo and then you move it towards the direction of the magnetic field and kung saan nakaturo yung thumb, yun yung direction nung tawag dito, ng magnetic force. You can do that similarly here. Okay, so ito yung gagamitin ninyo na starting point and then you move it towards B and then makikita nyo na nakabaliktad yung kamay ninyo. So yung thumb nakaturo sa baba. Okay, which means na ang direction ng force ay pababa. Okay, now you might argue na pwede ko namang paikutin yung kamay ko o yung daliri ko, ang mga daliri ko in this way. Okay, but yung idea dito is that you take the shorter angle. Okay, so this is the shorter angle, okay, between the two, between this and that. Okay, okay, so you take that shorter angle to determine kung ano yung direction nung magnetic field or ng magnetic force using your right hand rule. Okay. Now, if you have a charge, okay, then obviously the magnetic force changes direction. So here we have a magnetic force that is pointing upward and that's with a positive charge. But if you change that positive charge to a negative charge, then the magnetic force changes direction because we change the sign of the charge. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Um, now let's tawag dito, describe muna yung hindi ko ata nabanggit yung units, no? So we have this equation QV cross B. We know that this is in Newton, ang unit ng force is Newton. Ang unit ng charge ay coulomb and ang unit ng velocity is meters per second. Now, ano ang unit ng magnetic field? Okay, ang unit ng magnetic field is called Tesla. Okay. Tesla. Okay. So this is equal to, so 1 Tesla or T. So 1 Tesla is equal to 1 Newton per ampere meter. Okay, at saan galing yung ampere na yan? Remember na ang ampere is current and it's charge per unit time. And itong unit na to is charge per unit time or coulomb per second. Okay, so doon galing yung ampere na yan. Okay, yung may iba pang unit na ginagamit. Okay, so ang tawag dun sa unit na yun ay Gauss. So, or Gauss, okay, which is actually after yung Gauss law na pinag-uusapan natin before sa electricity. So, one Gauss is equal to 10 to the minus 4 Tesla. Okay? Ginagamit din yan commonly. And yung magnetic field actually ng Earth is in this order. So Earth's magnetic field, okay, is in the order of 1 Gauss. Okay. Okay, in the order of 1 Gauss. Okay, or in the order of 10 to the minus 4, okay, Tesla. Okay, so just para lang magkaroon ka ng idea, Okay, yung actual na value ng magnetic field, syempre nagva-vary yan depende kung nasan yung location and kung nasa surface. So kung sa surface ng Earth, it's between 20 and 67 micro Tesla or 0.22 and 0.67 Gauss. Okay, and if you compare it to yung refrigerator magnet, for example, ang refrigerator magnet has about 10,000 micro Tesla or 100 Gauss. Okay? So, so ganyan yung magnitudes na pinag-uusapan natin. But this magnetic field, okay, this magnitude ng magnetic field is actually enough to to have an effect on a compass. Okay, so ang tawag dito. So so in this example where we put the compass near a current carrying wire, yung magnetic field na pinoproduce ng mga wire na yan are greater than uh, 0.67 Gauss or 67 micro Tesla. So you should have an idea, okay, about the range of answers na pwede nyo makuha sa exam. Kasi if we're not talking about Earth's magnetic field or if we're ignoring the Earth's magnetic field, then siguro okay lang yung mga magnetic fields na lower than this value. Pero syempre, ang ina-expect natin sa mga currents, sa magnetic fields na napoproduce ng mga wires na yon has to be greater than these values. Of course, depende pa rin yun dun sa example. Okay? Okay, okay, so let's continue. So consider natin ngayon tong example na ito. Okay, so let's say that we have a proton. Okay, so a beam of protons which has a charge Q equals 1.6 times 10 to the minus 19 coulomb moves at 3 times 10 to the 5 meters per second through a uniform 2 Tesla magnetic field directed along the positive Z axis. Okay. The velocity of each proton lies in the xz plane and is directed at 30 degrees towards the positive z axis. Okay, so find the force on the proton. So if we look at this figure, okay, papansin nyo na ito yung x-axis, y-axis, tsaka z-axis, okay? So dapat nyo mapansin yan na kasi, di ba, hindi minsan tulad dito sa example na to niro-rotate yung axis. So yung magnetic field ay nasa z-axis, tapos yung velocity, okay, yung movement ng charge, okay, ay nagmo-move to the velocity of each proton lies in the xz plane. Okay, so nandito siya sa plane na ito, sa plane na yan. Okay, sa xz plane. Okay, so there's an angle between V and B, okay, which is 30 degrees. So to find the force, so let's consider muna yung magnitude. So Q, V, B sine phi. Then we have 1.6 times 10 to the minus 19 coulomb times yung velocity niya na 3 times 10 to the 5 meters per second times yung magnetic field na 2 Tesla and then yung angle between them which is 30 degrees. Okay, yung magnitude gives us 4.8 times 10 to the minus 14 newtons. Okay, so what about yung direction? So ang gagawin nyo is ilagay nyo muna yung kamay nyo dito and then i-move nyo, okay, i-move nyo towards the direction of the magnetic field. Okay? So makikita nyo na yung direction, okay, ng magnetic force is actually downward, okay, towards the negative y axis. Okay, if you did it correctly. Of course, pwede niyo rin namang i-consider mag-consider ng solution na na in vector form. So ito yung solution 1. Yung solution 2 can be like this. So we can write yung velocity, okay, with its two components. Okay, ang dalawang components niya, okay, ay along the x tsaka along the z-axis. So Vx, okay, and then I hat plus Vz k hat. Okay, remember it's on the xz plane. Okay, so yung component ng V along the x-axis is, so if you have this triangle here, okay, then this is the component of V along the x-axis and it's opposite the angle. So it will be sorry, it will be sine V sine 30 degrees, I hat. And ito naman yung component ng V along the z-axis. So it will be cosine, which is adjacent to the angle. So V cosine 30 degrees K hat. Okay, now ang V is equal to 3 times 10 to the 5 meters per second times sine ng 30 degrees plus 3 times 10 to the 5 meters per second times cosine ng 30 degrees K hat. Okay, and yung B ngayon, yung magnetic field, given sa problem na ang magnitude is 2 Tesla and it points along the positive z direction. So 2 Tesla K hat. So yung force ngayon ay equal sa QV cross B. Kunin muna natin lahat ng constants which are 1.6 times 10 to the minus 19 coulomb. Yun yung Q. Then ang common is 3 times 10 to the 5 meters per second. And then yung B is 2 Tesla. Okay, ngayon yung V, okay, is sine 30 degrees I hat plus cosine 30 degrees K hat. And then cross B, which is 2 Tesla K hat. Okay, I cross K is, ano sabi natin kanina? Pag I cross K, it's negative J hat. Okay, so that will give us, okay, so F equals 4.8 times 10 to the minus 14 newtons negative, negative J hat. Okay, and then, ito naman cross K, hindi ka pwede magkaroon ng cross product by itself. Ang lalabas yan is 0. So, K cross K is 0. So, ang ating sagot ngayon is this one. Okay, and consistent siya dun sa sagot natin dito kasi dito, ang direction is along the negative y direction using the right hand rule. Okay, and dito, nakuha natin by using vector notation, it points towards the negative y direction. Okay, so you can use either of these two solutions. Okay, so tignan natin kung naintindihan nyo pa further. Okay, so itong figure na to shows a uniform magnetic field directed into the plane of the paper. Okay, shown by the blue x's. So yung mga blue x na yan, they are actually the direction of the magnetic field. If it's x, that means that the magnetic field is pointing inward towards the paper. Okay? And then a particle with a negative charge moves in the plane, okay, as indicated. Okay, so nag-move siya towards the right. Right. So aling direction mag-move yung charge na ito. So in this case, ang gagamitin natin dito ay yung right hand rule. Okay, so yung V, okay, ay tawag dito, yung V ay nakaturo dito at yung B ay pointing pointing towards the paper. Okay, so pag ginamit niyo yung right hand rule niyo, remember, you put your fingers first pointing towards V, and then you slide it or rotate it such that it points towards B. So makikita nyo na it rotates downward at yung force ngayon is upward. Pero this is a negative charge. Okay, so yung actual na force points in this direction. Okay, if it were a positive charge, nakaturo siya upward. Okay, pero negative charge, tapos nakaturo siya downward. So which means na ang gagawin ng force na to is ipupull niya tong negative charge na to downward, and yung trajectory na susundin niya ay yung trajectory corresponding to path 3. Kasi hihilain niya yung pababa. Okay? So I hope naintindihan niyo yung ano na yun, yung part na yan. Okay. Okay, so we talk about magnetic forces. Okay, and we know na pag merong magnetic force, okay, ibig sabihin meron ka ring magnetic field, and yung magnetic field na yun ay merong magnetic field lines. And we know about magnetic field lines kasi if perhaps some of you, okay, ay ginawa na tong experiment na ito kasi naglagay kayo ng iron fillings near the poles of a magnet at nakita niyo na may ganitong klaseng behavior. Okay? So, yung iron fillings actually follow the direction of the magnetic field lines. And if we draw lines dun sa iron fillings na yun, makikita natin na itong lines na to will have this tawag dito, orientation. And if you go back to your notes or dun sa book, makikita nyo na very similar yung itsura ng magnetic field lines between the North and the South Pole compared to yung electric field lines between positive tsaka negative charges. Okay? And doon natin makikita na merong relationship between electric field and magnetic field kasi they behave the same. And it's also what's interesting about nature kasi meron ganitong klase mga symmetries, okay, between different parameters. So meron kang similarities between the behavior ng magnetic field at saka electric field. And we know na pag may ganyan silang mga behavior, okay, ibig sabihin meron din silang some sort of a relationship between them. What about magnetic field lines inside a permanent magnet? This is what magnetic field lines inside a permanent magnet looks like. Okay, so sa loob ng magnet, they're almost parallel. Pero sa labas, okay, they exhibit itong mga curved lines na ito. Okay, and again, if you take a look here, okay, very much similar pa rin yung behavior, okay, o yung magnetic field lines ng permanent magnet kumpara sa ganitong klaseng behavior. So imagine niyo na ito yung permanent magnet niyo. Oops. Okay, yan yung permanent magnet niyo. So we have these parallel lines, and then you have these lines that extend, okay? That extend, okay, outward. Okay, katulad dito. Okay? So, medyo similar pa rin yung behavior. Okay. Oops. Sige. And what about itong magnetic field lines sa iba't ibang mga systems? So here we have a C-shaped magnet. Okay, and dito sa area na ito, ganito yung itsura ng magnetic field lines. Of course, in this region, okay, yung magnetic field lines ay parallel, pero dito sa region na ito, hindi na parallel yung magnetic field lines. Remember na yung magnetic field lines actually uh, have this shape, okay? And kaya lang naman parallel yung magnetic field lines dito sa gitna is because yung mga kanilang mga horizontal components, okay, ay nagka-cancel lang sa isa't isa. So, ang nangyayari is yung vertical components lang yung nagsusurvive, okay, at kaya nagiging parallel. If you have a current carrying wire, okay, tulad nung sa example natin kanina with the compass, ganito yung itsura nung magnetic field. Okay, so you can determine kung ano yung itsura ng magnetic field by actually using your right hand ulit, and you point the thumb in the direction of the current. Okay? So pag pinoint nyo yung thumb nyo sa direction ng current, yung move, kung paano nag-move yung fingers, ganun din yung movement no, ganun din yung direction ng magnetic field. Okay, so try nyo. Okay, point yung thumb in the direction of the current and then just move your fingers and then those fingers move around the wire in the same direction as the magnetic field that's indicated in this figure. Okay? And if you put a compass here, okay, kung maglalagay kayo ng compass dyan, yung compass will actually point in this direction. Okay? And that's why kanina sinabi ko na ma-orient pag meron kayong compass, okay, it will rotate and end up in this direction kasi yung magnetic field lines okay, ay nagro-rotate okay, around this wire in this manner. Okay? Or in this, yeah, in this manner. Okay, now we can actually draw yung yung or represent yung magnetic field lines in this way. Okay, so ito yung wire ninyo. Okay, and sa itaas nung wire, yung magnetic field ay directed out of the plane. So it's as if papalabas siya dun sa papel. And then iikot siya, papasok siya dun sa papel, dun sa ilalim ng magnetic field lines. Kaya dito sa taas, we have dots indicating na upward siya and then crosses indicating na downward siya. So parang itong dots tsaka X na to ay parang yung arrow, di ba? Kasi yung arrow sa dulo ay may arrowhead pero dun sa buntot merong tawag dito, feathers. So itong ngayon yung parang feathers na yan at itong point na to yan yung head ng arrow. Okay, and now if you coil a wire, then ito naman ang mangyayari. Okay? So susundin pa rin niya yung behavior, okay? Ganun pa rin i-point niyo lang yung direction nung current sa same direction ng thumb ninyo and then sundan niyo lang yung wire. Okay, makikita niyo na yung direction ng magnetic field is in the same direction as kung paano mag-curl yung mga fingers ninyo. Okay? Then kung meron ka namang multiple coils, katulad na nakikita nyo rito, then you have a behavior, okay, na ganito yung sa gitna, parallel yung mga magnetic field, tapos papalabas yung mga magnetic field dito sa labas. Okay, so papalabas yung magnetic field dito sa labas. And if you take a look at this closely, it actually resembles the behavior of a permanent magnet. So yung magnetic field nilang dalawa are precisely the same. So you can develop or you can actually make a permanent magnet by putting a coil, okay? Putting a coil in this or arranging for multiple coils, okay? Then put a current through the coil, and then you have a magnet, okay? That you can use, okay, for whatever applications. Okay. Okay. So, now that we talk about magnetic field lines, okay, nakikita natin na in these examples, okay, nagfo-flow yung magnetic field lines through through objects. Okay. Then, if you recall, we also talked about yung flow ng electric field lines and we discussed yung flow na ito through yung concept na tinatawag na magnetic flux. Okay, so if we have this surface indicated by this brown surface, we can describe yung magnetic flux, okay, d pi b. Okay, as the product of the perpendicular component of the magnetic field, perpendicular dun sa surface, multiplied by yung area, okay, kung yung area nitong infinitesimal na surface na yan. Okay, and that's equal to b cosine phi. Okay, so if you have this b and this is the perpendicular component and this is the angle phi, then ito is actually B cosine phi, then times dA. And yung d phi B ngayon is equal to yung dot product ng B at saka dot ng dA. And if you take the integral of that, pi B is equal to integral ng B dot dA. Okay. Now, just for comparison, okay, yung electric field also has this form, E dot dA. But sa electric field, sinabi natin na yung flux na yan, yung electric flux is equal to charge divided by epsilon. Okay, for a closed surface. Okay, so you have to have a Gaussian surface kung naalala ninyo. Now, for a closed surface, this magnetic flux is actually zero. Okay, ang ibig sabihin yan is the number of magnetic field lines that go into the surface is the same number as magnetic field lines outside. But meron din yung implication. Okay, ibig sabihin din yan na walang magnetic monopoles na nag-exist. Both, tawag dito, north and south poles always are present. Okay, pag closed yung surface na pinag-uusapan. So if you enclose a magnet, for example, with a sabihin natin Gaussian surface, with a surface, tignan natin yung flux. It will always be equal to zero kasi parati meron kang north and south pole, okay, na lang po-produce ng magnetic field that points towards the opposite direction. Okay, so parati magka-cancel yung magnetic tawag dito, yung magnetic field lines, okay, in a closed surface. Now, since yung B dot dA is a scalar product, ang ibig sabihin ang phi B, ang magnetic flux, is also a scalar quantity. Now, ang unit ng magnetic field is Tesla. Ito ay meter squared. Okay, ang unit ngayon ng magnetic flux is Weber or WB. So, ang Weber is just equal to 1 Tesla meter squared. Okay, or since ang Tesla is Newton per ampere meter, so this is also 1 Newton meter per ampere. Okay, so this one, okay, is Gauss law for magnetism. And it's a very, very powerful law. Tulad ng equation ito, which is called Gauss law for electricity. Okay, and babalikan natin yan later on. And actually, sa 171 tsaka sa 172, yung electromagnetism na courses sa third year, okay, ito yung magiging foundation equations nyo. Yan parati yung magiging starting point ng mga calculations ninyo. Okay? Okay, so now let's take a look at this problem. Okay, so dito sa problem na ito, we have this figure, which is a perspective view of a flat surface with area equal to 3.0 square centimeters in a uniform magnetic field, B. Okay, so yung magnetic flux through this surface is 0.9 milliweber. So find the magnitude of the magnetic field and the direction of the area vector. Okay, so pag tinignan natin itong figure na ito, merong angle na 30 degrees dito. Okay, so ibig sabihin yung area vector, which is defined to be perpendicular, okay, to the surface, okay, is pointing in this direction. So if you take a look at the side view, ganito yung makikita ninyo. Ito yung plane, okay, yan yung 30 degrees, at ito yung area vector, okay, which is 60 degrees with respect to the magnetic field line. Okay, so nasagot na natin yung isang part ng problem, which is yung uh, what angle, okay, the area vector makes. Sorry. Tama. What angle the area vector makes with the magnetic field. So it's 60. So it's 60 degrees. Okay. Now, ang pinapahanap dito is yung magnetic field, right? So yung magnitude ng magnetic field, okay, ay makukuha natin from this equation. So we have flux equal to B dot A. Now, bakit hindi tayo nag-integrate? Kasi dito, sa given, sinabi na yung magnetic field is uniform. And remember na pag uniform yung magnetic field, or pag meron kang constant dun sa loob ng equation mo, sa loob ng integral, pwede mo siyang ilabas. And ang magtitira is integral ng dA, which is nothing but yung area lang ng surface. So you have B dot A. Or BA cosine phi. Or phi is the angle between B and A. And dito yung angle between B and A is 60 degrees. So we have B is equal to flux divided by A cosine phi. Ang flux is given by 0.90 times 10 to the minus 3 Weber, okay, divided by yung area na 3.0 square centimeters. So, i-convert pa natin yan to meter. Okay, so 100 centimeters is to 1 meter squared. And then cosine ng 60 60 degrees. Okay, so yung magnetic field dito will be equal to 6 Tesla. Okay, so yan yung magnitude ng magnetic field. Okay, at yung direction ng magnetic field is indicated by the arrow. Okay. Okay, so if you have questions, okay, ang gawin nyo is tawag dito, take a screenshot of this of the time of the slide kung saan kayo merong question, and then i-upload nyo yung screenshot na yun, and then you can either send yung question niyo via email with the screenshot, okay, or via yung sa Google Spaces. Okay, mas maganda kung sa Google Spaces yung itanong para lahat ay pwede makinabang dun sa question niyo. Okay, pag nasagot na yung tanong. Okay, if my estimate is correct, then it has been 1 hour since we started the lesson. Okay, but yung video na to will of course continue rolling. Okay, and if you want to take a pause at any time, pwede nyo namang gawin yan kasi this is asynchronous mode naman. Okay? So magko-continue lang ako dun sa ano natin, sa lesson natin. But pause anytime you want to, okay, para lang ma-absorb nyo at maintindihan nyo yung lesson, and siguro ma-refresh din yung memory. Okay? Yung memory or yung thought process niyo. Okay? So let's consider some more examples of how magnetic field behaves, or charges behave in the presence of a magnetic field. So earlier, meron tayong tinignan na figure, or may tinignan tayong figure, which is this one. Okay, sinabi natin na if there's a charge moving in this direction and yung magnetic field ay oriented in this way, then if the charge is negative, then it will follow path 3. Okay, but if you follow, okay, yung movement ng charge na to, so for example, pag yung charge ay nandito na, okay, so let's make that charge blue. Okay, so halimbawa, nandiyan na yung charge, tas negative charge siya. Then actually, yung electric force, or first of all, yung ano muna, yung velocity vector muna ay nasa direction na to. Yung magnetic field is still pointing downward, pero yung electric force will be pointing in this direction. So as the charge moves, the velocity the direction of the velocity changes, and so does the direction of the magnetic force. Now, if we continue following yung direction na yan, okay, o yung movement ng charge na yan, okay, so dito sa example na to, we have a positive charge instead, and the magnetic field is downward, yung velocity ay pointing in the upward direction, or yung velocity is pointing in this direction, shown in the figure. Okay, yung magnetic force is in this direction. Okay, okay, sa direction na yan. And we can get that, okay, by tawag dito yung by doing the right hand rule, di ba? So first yung V muna, ilagay niyo yung hands niyo sa direction ng V, then swing it downward, swing your fingers downward sa direction ng B. Makikita niyo yung thumb ay nakaturo towards this direction. And as yung charge moves, okay, yung direction ng velocity also changes. Okay, and as a consequence, magnetic, yung direction ng magnetic force also changes. And if you follow yung path ng charge na yan, it actually follows a circular path. Okay, so yung force na yan actually pushes yung electron o yung positive charge na yan to follow a circular path. So it is actually a centripetal force. Okay, which means na yung force na yan, centripetal force yan in the sense na it pushes the trajectory of the particle to move in a circular direction, which means na yung force na yan is equal to, okay, mv squared. So yung magnitude ng force is equal to m times yung velocity squared divided by yung radius nung circle na yan. And it's also the magnetic force. So yung magnetic force is the reason kung bakit siya nagmo-move, okay, in a circular path. So yung magnetic force is the same as the centripetal force. So in terms of magnitude, it's also equal to Q VB. Yung direction between V and B ay perpendicular sa isa't isa. Okay, as we can see from the figure, so wala na tayong sine theta dito, or yung phi natin is 90 degrees. Okay, so so now we can determine yung radius ng circle na ito, and if we do the math, we have R is equal to mv over Q times B. Okay, so if we have this type of system, then we expect that the charge will behave or will move in a circular pattern. And we can see that in this type of experiment, okay, na kung saan yung magnetic field points inward toward the paper. Okay, and then you have tawag dito, an electron beam as shown here. And the reason kung bakit umiikot yung electron beam na yan, kasi yung magnetic field na napoproduce dito uh, 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 induces a magnetic force that pushes the the trajectory of the charges to move in a circular pattern. If you change the value of the magnitude of the magnetic field, then of course yung radius ng circle na yan magbabago din, di ba? So halimbawa, kung increase yung magnetic field, okay, liliit yung radius, and kung i-decrease yung magnetic field, lalaki naman yung radius, okay, nung orbit na yan, o nung trajectory nung electron beam na yan. Okay, and of course we notice na yung movement ng charges dito ay repetitive, di ba? Circular yung kanyang movement. So meron din siyang angular na speed. If you recall, yung angular na speed or yung linear na speed is equal to r times omega. Diba? Yung radius times yung angular na speed. And we can get yung angular velocity niyan yung system omega omegas, knowing that omega is equal to V over R. And we know from this equation, okay, na V is equal to QBR over M. Okay, so pwede natin itong palitan ng QB and then divide by R. So magka-cancel yung R. So QB over M. Okay, so yung omega is just equal to the charge times the magnetic field. The angular velocity is just equal to the charge times the magnetic field divided by the mass. We can get the frequency of rotation knowing that yung omega is 2 pi f. So yung frequency ng rotation is 1 over 2 pi times q times b divided by m. Okay, so we have this equation for the angular velocity and the angular frequency, or simply the frequency of rotation. Now, this is also called, for this particular system, this is also called a cyclotron frequency. Kasi ang isa sa mga applications na ito, okay, is a cyclotron. So yung mga particle accelerators na meron sa CERN actually obeys yung physics na nandito. Okay, using magnetic fields, you can direct tawag dito, charges to move in a circular pattern. And if you increase and increase that magnetic field, then you can also increase yung velocity niya. Okay, which means na tawag dito, pwede ka mag-perform ng high energy particles, high energy physics na experiments. Okay? Kaya yung mga CERN na mga cyclotrons, okay, malaki-malaki yung radius nila. It actually occupies 3 countries, ganun kalaki yung radius. A couple of kilometers. Okay, about 4 kilometers if I remember correctly. Okay, and kaya ganyan siya kalaki kasi gusto nila mag-generate ng velocities ng mga particles na sobrang taas, okay, para makapag-bombard sila ng uh, mga protons ng nucleus, okay, ng mga subatomic particles in order to study them and tignan kung ano yung mga lalabas na mga subatomic particles. Okay? Okay. Now, sometimes yung velocity ay merong component which is perpendicular dun sa magnetic field. And if that is the case, then ang mangyayari is ipupush. Okay, so magkakaroon ka ng dalawang components ng velocities, dito perpendicular velocity tsaka yung parallel na velocity. Okay, so of course yung perpendicular velocity is the one that interacts with the magnetic field to cause yung magnetic force, at yung magnetic force yung nagpapaikot dyan. Pero dahil meron ka pang velocity kay na parallel, okay, hindi yan nakipag-interact with the magnetic field kasi V cross B is zero, di ba? Pero dahil meron ka pang velocity along the parallel direction, nagmo-move pa rin in a constant speed along this direction, okay, yung particle. So meron ka ng force na nagko-cause ng pag-ikot and then nagmo-move pa siya in this direction. So yan yung nangyayari dyan. Kaya siya nagaganyan kasi meron ka pang additional na velocity which is parallel to the magnetic field. Now, you can also vary yung magnetic field, okay, and have this kind of behavior. So this is called a magnetic battle. Okay, so para magawa niyo to ay kailangan niyo baguhin yung magnetic field in such a way ngayon na maka-form kayo ng ganito kalaking radius. Okay? So yung magnetic field niyo ay anong tawag dito, nagva-vary. And you can do that by adding coils, okay, or adding external magnets. So this is called a magnetic battle, and this is one of the ways to study gases, so particularly ionized gases, and look at their behavior. Now, this type of magnetic battle actually exists in nature, and makikita natin yan dun sa mga auroras na tinatawag. Okay, so alam natin na ang Earth is actually has a magnetic pole. So yung North Pole, which is the magnetic South Pole, okay, interacts or forms a magnetic battle with the South Pole or magnetic North Pole. So ganito yung itsura ng ng battle na yan. Yung magnetic field is medyo concentrated dun sa poles. Okay, and because it's concentrated, pag meron diyang pumasok ng mga charges, okay, yung mga charges na yan ay makipag-interact with the molecules dun sa atmosphere. And yung interaction nila causes the production of light. So if the particles are oxygen, then you produce a green color. If the particles are nitrogen, then you produce yung pink color ng mga aurora and so on and so forth. Okay, so I have this video, okay, that I can show you. Okay, and tingnan natin yung video na to.
What is an aurora? An aurora looks like a beautiful display of lights in the sky. These are some auroras that were spotted in the sky over central Alaska. We can also see auroras from space. This is what an aurora looks like from the International Space Station. The name of an aurora changes depending on its location. If you're in the northern hemisphere, it is called aurora borealis, or northern lights. And if you're in the southern hemisphere, then it is called aurora australis, or southern lights. So, what causes these beautiful displays of lights anyway? The sun. That's right. Even though auroras are best seen at night, these colorful displays are caused by our ever-changing sun. How exactly does it work? Well, the sun is constantly sending heat and light to Earth. It also sends other kinds of energy in small electrified particles, too. This is called the solar wind. Earth has a magnetic field, which protects us from most solar winds, but it also traps some of the electrified particles in the space around Earth. The sun does not always send the same amount of energy. Sometimes the sun has huge outbursts and blasts more stuff into space than the usual solar wind. These events are called solar storms. During one kind of solar storm, called a coronal mass ejection, the sun burps a massive bubble of gas that pops and sends particles and energy zooming through space. When a solar storm reaches Earth, it dances with our magnetic field, and some of the energy and particles that zip around the magnetic field dive into our atmosphere near the north and south poles. The particles then bump into gases in our atmosphere. These interactions result in displays of light in the sky, auroras. When the particles bump into oxygen in our atmosphere, the reaction makes green and red light. When the particles bump into nitrogen in our atmosphere, it makes blue and purple light. Earth is not the only planet with auroras. If a planet has an atmosphere and a magnetic field, it probably has auroras. For example, NASA spacecraft have captured amazing auroras on Jupiter and Saturn. Learn more about our planet and our solar system at NASA Space Place.
Okay, so that's how these northern lights or southern lights, aurora borealis, tsaka aurora australis are produced. And yung basic principle, okay, that produces them, yun yung pinag-aralan natin ngayon. Okay, so it's just an interaction of these charges with the magnetic field. And yung charges na yun ay nanggagaling sa sun. Okay, and they interact with the particles, okay, or the gases that are present dun sa poles ng Earth. Okay? Yun. Okay, so now consider natin itong example na ito. Okay. A magnetron in a microwave often emits electromagnetic waves with frequency F equals 2400 megahertz. So what magnetic field strength is required for the electrons to move in circular paths with this frequency? Okay, so we already know yung equation, okay, that relates yung frequency with the magnetic field. Okay, at yung equation na yun is given by this. So F equals 1 over 2 pi QB over M. Okay, so we just need to determine kung ano yung B. So we have F is equal to 1 over 2 pi QB over M. Okay, yung particle dito, magnetron, so electrons ang pinag-uusapan natin dito. So this is the mass of the electron that we have to consider. So yung B ngayon is equal to omega 2 pi F. Okay, so 2 pi F M over Q. Okay, so 2 pi times yung frequency na 2,450 megahertz times 10 to the 6 hertz. Okay, yung mass ng electron is 9.11 times 10 to the minus 31 kilograms divided by yung charge ng electron, which is 1.6 times 10 to the minus 19 coulomb. So yung magnetic field, okay, para mag-produce o para paikutin itong electrons at this frequency at 2,450 megahertz, okay, should be equal to 87.7 millitesla. Okay, so consider natin the next example. So in a situation like that shown in figure 27.18, okay, ano ba ang 27.18? 27.18 is this figure, yeah. Okay, so consider natin yung behavior na yan. Okay, so in a situation like that shown in figure 27.18, the charged particle is a proton. Okay, and the uniform 0.5 Tesla magnetic field is directed along the x-axis. Okay, at t equals 0, the proton has velocity components Vx equals 1.5 times 10 to the 5 meters per second, Vy equals 0, and Vz equals 2 times 10 to the 5 meters per second. Only the magnetic force acts on the proton. Okay, at t equals 0, so letter A, at t equals 0, find the force on the proton and its acceleration. Okay, and letter B, find the radius of the resulting helical path, the angular speed of the proton, and the pitch of the helix. Okay, ang pitch is defined as the distance traveled along the helix axis per revolution. So this is the helix axis. Yung x-axis dyan is the helix axis, di ba? So yung shape na na-form niya is a helix and yung axis ng helix along the x-axis. So yung distance traveled along the helical axis, helix axis, yun yung tinatanong sa letter B. Okay, so we can begin with determining yung force. Okay, so alam natin na yung force is equal to QV cross B. Okay, and then ang given dito is that yung V ay merong component along the x-axis, which is 1.5 times 10 to the 5 meters per second I hat. And may component din siya along the z-axis, which is 2 times 10 to the 5 meters per second K hat. Okay, yung magnetic field is uniform and directed along the x-axis. So it's 0.500 Tesla, and it's directed towards the x-axis. Okay, so yung force ngayon is equal to Q, is equal to 1.6 times 10 to the minus 19 coulomb times 1.5 times 10 to the 5 meters per second I hat plus 2.0 times 10 to the 5 meters per second K hat cross 0.500 Tesla I hat. Okay, so I I cross I, okay, I cross I is 0. Okay. Now, K cross I is negative J hat. So yung F natin ngayon is 1.6 times 2 times 0.5 Tesla. So that's also 1.6. Okay, times 10 to the minus 14 okay, newtons. K cross I, sorry, ang K cross I is positive J hat pala. So J, so positive J hat. Positive J hat. Okay, ang tinatanong sa letter A is find the force on the proton and its acceleration. So yung acceleration is very simply determined from Newton's second law. So if the force is 1.6 times 10 to the minus 14 newtons, divide lang natin yan by yung mass ng electron times 10 to the minus 31 kilograms. Okay, and then J hat, of course, yung acceleration is 9.58 times 10 to the 12 meters per second squared. And this is along the J hat direction. Okay, so yan yung force at T equals 0. Okay, so remember, okay, na ang magiging trajectory nito is circular. Okay, along the YZ plane. So balikan natin itong figure na ito. Okay, so at T equals 0, nandito siya. So kaya positive yan. Pero remember na iikot yung force. Okay? So, ang tawag dito, yan. So ganyan yung mangyayari dyan. Okay, so, okay. Therefore, yung acceleration dito is actually a centripetal acceleration. So, the acceleration nung pag-ikot niya dun sa helix na shape. Okay, so sa letter B, find the radius of the resulting helical path, okay, the angular speed of the proton and the pitch of the helix. Okay, so ito yung letter A and then solve natin yung letter B. Okay, so alam natin kung paano kunin yung radius. We have this equation, mv q times b. Okay, now ano yung v dito, first of all? Yung v dito, meron dalawa, x at saka z. Okay, and if you go back to the figure, sinabi natin na the only force that contributes the only velocity that contributes sa pag-ikot ay itong perpendicular velocity, which is at t equals 0, it's the z. Okay, it's the velocity along the z axis. Okay, so walang contribution yung x. So ang magiging ano lang dito is yung radius is due to the velocity along the z-axis. So this will be equal to, okay, 1.67. This is, ang tawag dito, proton na ito, no? Proton. Ay, sorry, hindi pala ito. So proton pala ito. So dapat 1.67 lang nilagay ko dito. 1.67 times 10 to the minus 27 kilograms. Pero tama pa rin yung sagot siya. Okay, so this is 1.67 times 10 to the minus 27 kilograms times yung velocity along the z-axis, which is 2 times 10 to the 5 meters per second, divided by 9.11 times 10 to the minus 31 coulomb times yung magnetic field na 2 Tesla o 0.5 Tesla. Saan ko nakukuha yung 2 Tesla na yun? 0.500 Tesla. So yung radius ng pag-ikot niya is 4.18 millimeters. Okay, so ganyan lang kaliit yung radius na napoproduce sa situation na ito. What about yung angular speed? Okay, so yung angular speed is given by QB over M. Okay, we know na ang Q is 1.6 times 10 to the minus 19 coulomb. Magnetic field is 0.500 Tesla divided by 1.67 times 10 to the minus 27 kilograms. So yung angular speed niya is 4.79 times 10 to the 7 radians per second. Okay, and finally, okay, yung uh, distance traveled along the helix, or which is yung pitch ng helix, we have to determine, okay, and we can do that by taking a look again at this figure. So remember na yung pitch, ang nag-contribute lang dito ay yung parallel na ano, yung parallel na velocity. Okay, and then ang kailangan lang na natin malaman is yung time. We know that from this speed, from this point to this point, okay, that corresponds to one cycle. Okay, one cycle. And yung time for one cycle is called the period. Okay, and we know yung frequency. Okay, so knowing yung frequency, we can get the period. Okay, so if we want to determine yung pitch velocity is given by Vx times t, which is where t is the period. Okay, Vx is 1 over f, di ba? Vx over f. Ang f is omega. Omega is equal to 2 pi f. So this will be equal to uh, Vx times omega, sorry, 2 pi. So omega and then 2 pi. Okay, so yung pitch of the helix is then equal to 2 pi over omega and then times Vx. Okay, and if you plug in yung known quantities, and dito naman yung omega, and then yung velocity is given by this 1.5 times 10 to the 5. So 2 pi times 1.5 times 10 to the 5 meters per second, and then yung omega na 4.79 times 10 to the 7 radians per second. Then yung pitch is equal to 19.7 millimeters. Okay, ibig sabihin lang yan is for each cycle, nagmo-move ito by 19.7 millimeters. Tapos yung radius ng pag-ikot niya is 4.18 millimeters. So actually, mas maliit pa yung radius ng pag-ikot kumpara dun sa pitch, di ba? So actually, yung pitch niya ganito, and then yung ikot niya yung ganyan lang. Okay. So ganun yung nangyayari dyan. Okay. Okay, again, if you have any questions, take a screenshot, okay, and then ask your questions via email or via dun sa Google tawag dito, Spaces. Okay, Google Spaces. Okay. Now, may mga iba pang applications yung ganitong klaseng system. So instead of a cyclotron katulad nito, we can actually create what's called the velocity selector, or a mass selector then. Okay, but the principle for the velocity selector and mass selector is the same. So ang idea dito is you can put two plates, okay, where you can produce a magnetic field. Okay, and then maglapat ka rin ng magnetic field, okay, covering yung dalawang plates na yan. So you have an electric field and a magnetic field at the same time, or in the same region. Okay, now if you allow a charge to travel, okay, inside the electric and magnetic field, anong mangyayari sa kanya? Okay, so if the charge is here, okay, if the positive charge is here, makakaramdam siya ng electric field in this direction. Okay, remember, it's a positive charge. Okay, then, kung meron kang magnetic field, okay, which points downward, yung velocity mo points into the paper, yung velocity mo points downward, and if you use your right hand, then yung magnetic force will be in this direction. So ito yung electric force. Okay, and then ito naman yung magnetic force. Okay? Okay, so ganito actually yung magiging itsura niyan. So what you can actually do is that you can tune yung electric field and yung magnetic field, okay, in such a way na equal yung kanilang mga magnitudes. And as long as equal yung magnitudes ng FE at saka ng FB, they cancel out. And yung velocity, okay, nung particle na yan, okay, just moves in a straight line. So the particle is not, tawag dito, is not affected. Okay, doesn't change direction as long as yung magnitudes ng electric field tsaka ng magnetic field, electric force at tsaka magnetic force are the same. So if they are the same, if they have the same magnitude, then that means we can write QE is equal to QVB. Siyempre, magka-cancel yung Q dyan. Okay, then we have V is equal to E over E over B. Okay, so yung electric field, yung velocity, okay, nung particle dito, okay, has to be equal to the ratio of the electric field and the magnetic field. Okay, para mag-move lang siya in a straight line. Okay, dito sa ano na to sa tawag dito sa sa system na ito. Okay, sa velocity selector. Now, if you have other charges, okay, that do not have the same velocity, okay, iba yung velocity nila, okay, ang mangyayari sa kanila is either madedeflect sila in this direction or madedeflect sila in this direction. Okay, depende kung ano yung velocity ng charges. Okay? So yan yung ginagawa sa velocity selector. Now, meron yung isang application and yung isa sa mga applications na yan is through this system it's called the Thomson's apparatus. And it's used for measuring the ratio of the charge and the mass of the electron. So it's one of the first experiments that actually measured the electronic charge and the mass of the electron, but not really yung individual na charge at saka mass, but yung ratio nila. So nauna munang na-determine yung ratio ng charge at saka ng mass, and then later on may succeeding experiments by other scientists to determine yung mass at saka yung charges ng electrons. Okay? So ang idea dito is that meron kang cathode tsaka anode dito at dito manggagaling yung mga electrons. Okay, so diyan galing yung mga electrons. Okay, and if you set a magnetic field and an electric field, okay, dito mag-set ka ng electric field dito plus tsaka negative charge, okay, plus. Okay, so plus tsaka negative charge. Okay, if you set them up correctly, then yung charge, okay, then yung velocity ng charge na equal sa ratio ng B tsaka ng E, okay, will move in a straight line. Pero you can, anong tawag dito? You can determine kung ano yung ratio ng charges, kung ano yung ratio ng electric field, ng electric charge, okay, by from this equation. Okay, so first of all, itong anode tsaka cathode na ito, it has a voltage, di ba? Ang voltage niyan is EV. And it accelerates yung charges and gives the charges a kinetic energy which is equal to 1/2 mv squared. And if you write it down, if you rewrite this, we have V is equal to square root ng 2E times yung voltage divided by M. Okay, dito na natin makikita yung E over M na ratio. So malalaman natin na if we set yung excuse me. If we set yung magnetic field at saka yung electric field, okay, correctly, then we can determine yung charge at saka yung ratio ng charge at saka ng mass from this simple experiment. Okay, now itong experiment na to was actually used to develop yung mga tinatawag na cathode ray tubes, which is actually the technology behind yung mga sinaunang mga televisions. So yung mga unang TVs, okay, ay gumagamit ng mga cathode ray tubes. Okay? And the way this works is that meron kang screen dito, okay? And you change the electric or magnetic field, okay, such that you push the electron to hit the screen. Okay, and then ipapaano mo siya diyan, papatamain mo yung electrons dito sa ano, sa buong screen na 'yan. So if you want to form an image, syempre may mga points na kung saan imimiss mo yung pagtama dun sa screen. But this whole process, okay, na moving back, up and down and then left and right, this is called this is called your rastering. Okay, kasi ini-scan mo yung buong screen, di ba? And that happens, okay, once tawag dito, uh, at 30 hertz, at the speed of 30 frames per second. Okay, so ganyan kabilis yung pag-raster nung mga cathode ray tubes nung unang panahon para gumawa ng TV. Okay, so ngayon hindi na natin gaano ginagamit ito kasi medyo bulky yan. So if you have kung naalala niyo siguro yung mga parents niyo or yung grandparents niyo, merong mga bulky na screens or bulky na televisions. Yan yung technology na present doon. So meron silang cathode and anode, and then meron sila nitong velocity selector. Okay, para i-project yung electrons dun sa isang position at the ng screen. Okay, to form images. Okay? So ganyan yung isa sa mga applications niya. Okay, so ang isa pang application niyan is a mass spectrometer. So ito naman ay ginagamit sa mga scientific na experiments. So you still use a velocity selector, pero once the charge goes out of the velocity selector, then wala ka ng electric field. Ang matitira na lang ay yung magnetic field. And if you keep the magnetic field constant, okay, then ang mangyayari diyan, di ba? Dahil may magnetic field ka, tapos may velocity yung ano nyo, yung charge nyo dyan, kaya ang mangyayari dyan is, di ba ano siya ng circular na path. Magko-follow siya ng circular na path. Now, if you recall, okay, yung radius na yan is equal to mv over qb. Now, meron itong quantity na m, and if you have different particles with different masses, then yung radius, okay, na mapoproduce, okay, nung iba't ibang particles ay iba-iba rin, diba? Kasi magdedepend yan dito sa equation na ito. So now you have a mass selector. Okay? So this is called tawag dito, a spectrometer. Okay, so or a mass spectrometer. Kasi now you can isolate objects that have specific masses, okay, by simply tuning kung ano yung tamang electric field at saka yung magnetic field. So for example, if you simply want to have a hydrogen, okay, and if you want to filter out all the other atoms, hydrogen is extremely light, then ang gagawin mo is maglalagay ka na ng screen dito, okay, to allow the hydrogen to come in, and all the rest of the atoms, okay, ay hindi mo na or all the rest of the charges ay hindi mo na papasukin diyan sa particle detector or sa mass spectrometer. Okay, so so let's consider this example. So if we have a magnetron in a microwave oven that emits, oh sorry. Okay, yan pala yung example kanina. So, eto naman, meron kang, we set out to reproduce Thomson's charge to mass ratio experiment with an accelerating potential of 150 volts and a deflecting electric field of magnitude 6 times 10 to the 6 Newton per coulomb. So letter A, how fast do the electrons move? Letter B, what magnetic field magnitude will yield zero beam deflection? Letter C, with this magnetic field, how will the electron beam behave if you increase the accelerating potential above 150 volts? Okay, so medyo straightforward naman ito. So meron kang given na potential which is 150 volts, electric field which is 6 times 10 to the 6 Newton per coulomb. So to determine kung ano yung velocity, so sa letter A, how fast do the electrons move? So ang equation dyan is 2 okay, times E over M, and then times yung potential. Okay? So, na-determine na natin to dun sa previous na ano. Saan na natin nilagay yan? Okay, so dito pala, yan. So, oops. So, yan ngayon ay equal sa 2 times yung charge ng electron, which is uh, 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 9.11 times 10 to the minus 19 coulomb divided by, sorry, 1.6 pala. 1.6 and then 9.11 times 10 to the minus 31 kilograms. And then yung voltage is 150 volts. And then you take the square root of that. And then you have a velocity, okay, which is equal to 7.27 be equal to 7.27 times 10 to the 6 meters per second. Now, just for context, this is actually 0.024 times the speed of light or 2.4% of the speed of light. So, medyo mabilis na itong mga particles na ito. Kasi they're moving already at speed which is 2.4% of the speed of light. Okay, now what about yung magnetic field na required para mapaikot siya ng ganyan? Okay. So ano dapat yung magnetic field na i-reset mo? So we have this equation given yung electric field na 6.0 times 10 to the 6 Newton per coulomb divided by 7.27 times 10 to the 6 meters per second. So ang electric field na kailangan mo is 0.83 Tesla. Okay, so with this magnetic field, how will the electron beam behave if you increase the accelerating potential, okay, above 150 volts? Okay, so from this equation, if you increase the accelerating potential, then you also increase the electron speed. Okay, and makikita naman natin yan dito kasi remember na dito, so ito yung dyan yung source ng potential mo, and the higher yung potential na yan, the higher yung electric field na mapoproduce, and then the higher the magnetic force, which means na yung acceleration is also high, which means na yung velocity na mapoproduce will also be high. Okay? Okay, so next example. Okay, so consider natin tong next example. Okay, finding leaks in a vacuum system. So there's almost no helium in ordinary air. So helium sprayed near a leak, okay, in a vacuum system will quickly show up in the output of a vacuum pump connected to such a system. So you're designing a leak detector that uses a mass spectrometer to detect helium plus ions. Okay, and ions emerge from the velocity selector with a speed of 1 times 10 to the 5 meters per second. So they are curved in a semicircular path by a magnetic field B prime and are detected at a distance of 10.16 centimeters from the slit S3 in figure 27.24. Okay? So, ito yung figure 27.24. Okay, and ang sinasabi dito is that curved yung path nung charge. Okay, and lulusot lang siya dun sa slit na S3. Okay, so ito yung slit na S3 dito. Okay, calculate the magnitude of the magnetic field B prime. Okay, so that this behavior is observed. Okay, so we already have this equation. Okay, so knowing yung radius. Okay, so yung velocity selector has a speed of 1 times 10 to the 5. Okay, alam din natin yung electron mass tsaka electron charge. Okay, and curved in a semicircular path by a magnetic field B prime and are detected at a distance 10.16 centimeters from the slit S3. So it's 10.16, somewhere dito, yan yung 10.16 centimeters niya. So ibig sabihin yung radius niya is half. Yung half yung 10.16. Okay, so we already know the equation, so it's B equals mv over QR. Ang mass is, ayan. So, given yung mass ng charge na lumalabas, 6.65 times 10 to the minus 27 kilograms times yung velocity na 1 times 10 to the 5 meters per second divided by yung charge na 1.6 times 10 to the minus 19 coulomb. Okay, and yung radius na 10.16 centimeters, okay, divide by 2. 5.08 times 10 to the minus 2 meters. So yung magnetic field na kailangan dito is 0.0818 Tesla. Okay, para ma para ma-determine kung merong leak or wala. So basically, ang mangyayari lang dyan is pag merong leak, lalabas lang yung charge ah, dun sa slit. Okay, kung walang leak, walang lalabas na charges. Okay? Okay, I think that should be it for today. Tawag dito, we'll continue with this magnetic field lesson next sa Friday. Ang susunod na pag-aaralan natin is today we discussed yung charges, okay? A single charge, okay? Interacting with the magnetic field. What if we have a line of charge or a charges that are moving inside the wire? Okay, so we have a current carrying conductor. Ano yung magiging behavior, okay, nung current o nung charges, ano magiging behavior ng wires, okay, anong force yung mararamdaman nila, and so on and so forth. At saka yung mga iba pang applications of this kind of system. Okay?